Matzke. I've got a PhD in natural medicine. I've been doing natural health consults for over 10 years, and I've been doing subconscious emotion block clearing for over 8. Because those are the two things that are really going to get you where you need to be. You're either going to be stopping yourself physically or you're stopping yourself emotionally, and that's playing out physically too. So, what we're here to talk about today, though, is the baseline toolbox of what you need to combat inflammation throughout the body, throughout the brain, throughout your life, without overthinking it, without overcomplicating it. We're seeing people who don't know how to leverage, balance, and simplify. Most of the diet plans out there want to jump straight to simplify. Cut all this stuff out. Only eat during these times. Only eat according to your blood type. Only eat, and they're missing the balance, obviously. And that leaves people really guessing what nutrients they might be missing. They will stop producing enzymes for certain things that they're not eating, which is going to increase inflammation actually in some ways. And they're going to be overemphasizing some things that they should not be overemphasizing necessarily, not for long. Most of the diets out there are built to be short-term diets. They're temporary. They're good for maybe cleansing. They're good for maybe short-term inflammation reduction, for maybe healing up really quickly in certain situations, but they're not long-term, lifelong, sustainable, manageable, simple enough baseline toolbox ways of eating. So when you're overcomplicating things in that way, or undercomplicating it, which then overcomplicates it eventually because of those things I mentioned, you're going to have trouble at some point. And then you're going to be re-guessing. Did those things I tried hurt me more than help me? Did they, and then you have the mental side of it, where you're going to be wondering, did I hurt myself more than it helped? Or it changes the way you think about food on a deep level. So now we wonder, well, can I eat any red meat? Or can I eat, maybe the vegetables are too much fiber. Maybe I can't process that. Do I have leaky gut because of and I've tried some of these diets too, and I'll tell you, the thing that I return to and my clients return to every time is what I can teach you, and I've been teaching it for over 10 years. I get sucked into the second guessing too at times, where you see all the carnivore has been my recent, the last couple of years, watching some people get totally ripped, bring down their inflammation, and then what? What happens then? You can subsist on meat that way, but a lot of people can't continue to digest that way, or they can't even start digesting that way. They don't know how to ease into it. It creates a lot of guilt around food, not just that one, but a lot of the diets. A lot of guilt, a lot of second guessing, a lot of mental games that are really hard to overcome, because then by the time, especially us as women, reach, 35, 40, 45, 50, we don't know what we're doing anymore. Nobody's taught us how to eat. Nobody's taught us what the baseline is. Nobody's taught us how to keep the inflammation down without being extreme or going through deprivation. So I'm going to talk to you today about that leverage, that balance, and that simplification that makes it a sustainable way to bring down inflammation for the long term. And if you've been in any of the natural circles or health circles at all, you hear that inflammation is the number one biggest enemy, right? But they usually don't talk about what's causing it, or really how to solve it, maybe how to manage it. Anyway, I've got a lot of beefs with that. I could go on and on, but I was hoping to keep this sort of short for you. I want to cover a little bit of the myth around other diets and really what we think of dieting in general. Overcomplicating it is not necessary. Eliminating that second guessing is a big deal. You want to have peace of mind with what you're doing, knowing that every bite that goes into your body is good for you, that you're not creating more problems. But people start to get paranoid about, I ate this and now tonight I can't sleep so well. Or I ate this and the anxiety is increasing. What's going on? Am I allergic to? And then they start eliminating so many foods, they don't have anything left to eat. And I've had clients come to me that way too. So, or they've been through a bout of cancer and they've been told, you have to go all vegan to get over this. So they do that for years, but then they find themselves emaciating and they find themselves with brain fog and they find them, things are dilapidating and they end up with a reoccurrence. Well, what did they do wrong, right? There's a deprivation of toolbox tools going on there. If you've got all the carpenters inside you building, your cells, they're working for you, they're trying to build, the tissues are trying to build, You've got all these little carpenters there and you're going to deprive them of certain tools. You can have all the ladders and saws you need and hammers, but I'm not going to give you nails. So they can get quite a bit done, but at some point they're going to be like, hush, nails would be so much easier to use here. Let's, we can put things together quicker if we have all the parts in place at once, all the tools we need. Somebody delivered them. Here they are. Use them. My diet does that for you. It gets all the tools where they need. Now, unless you've got a processing issue, and I cover that too in the diet plan area, if you've got more issues with maybe not uptaking or something, there are ways to get that leveraged also. We don't want an extreme diet. Extreme diets are only good for extreme situations, and then you have to find some sort of normal again. You have to find a way to fuel yourself. Most people need fuel and a tune-up. They think they're broken, but they're not. You're not broken. There might be processes that need more help, and that's where the leverage comes in. We have to leverage the things that we're already taking in, or that, you're spending money on groceries, do it on the right things, and make that the leverage that starts to restore you. Have those nutrients and those qualities of the foods work for you, not just eliminating all the things that might be helpful out of fear or out of second guessing. I teach you which foods we're going to leverage. It's a very simple plan. It's not a deprivation plan. I give you yes lists. I give you 2 huge yes lists. Some of them are like, if you're going to do it, just make sure you throw a little bit more of that in. I cover that in the videos too in that course. But people who seem to have it easy or effortless and just feel good, it's because they know the baseline of feeding their body and they're able to get those nutrients where they need to be. The cells can uptake them and do what they need to do with it. But like I said, you're not broken. You probably just need a tune-up, but you don't know how to do it. And I understand that. That's basically how all of my clients come to me. I need you to have something simple enough to sustain for life, not just simple like, oh, if I eliminate everything, and this is coming from someone who's done a 6-week fruit fast. That was super easy and a lot of fun. But by the end of the fast, my body wasn't making the protein breaking down enzymes that it needs. And when you don't have that, other things go awry. So it was fabulous as a cleanse, but it wasn't long-term sustainable. And we already talked about vegan, already talked about carnivore. If you have specific diet stuff that you have questions about, I can cover that too in the future. My baseline way of eating, my baseline toolbox for you has 3 different steps. Like I said, the leverage. So what we're going to do with that is we take simple traditional components, like simple foods that are not any more expensive than what you're spending on right now, and make those the medicine more so. There's always more we can do. Like I said, this is baseline. This is the first, like all of my clients that come to me for any natural help, whether even when it's anxiety laden, that's usually gut imbalance, creating a hormone problem or brain chemical problem that is not, it's not able to balance out. It doesn't have the tools it needs. So if we can reset that gut a bit, support the brain, support the cleansing tissues, that's what this diet does. We're going to leverage things in this, and I tell you right up front which ones we're going to use and how to use them in a way that you want to use them. So some people go over the top and do more of that leverage, and that's fine. I tell you where I would draw the line on those things. But to detox, to cleanse, to build, to really love on your body instead of depriving it. Then what we do with that diet is we balance it. I teach you how to balance. How many people actually know what balance is anymore? I mean, me included in life. Like, I like to get stressed out. I like to take things on too much. We're not taught balance in any area, let alone food. People go to either comfort food or they deprive themselves in order to avoid what they think is causing the problem. So we've got people who can literally eat starvation level diets and gain weight. It's really a pickle, isn't it? You just get caught in this rock and a hard place. There are things breaking down in the process, but the number one thing is not knowing what balance is. We're causing more stress with the food than we should. We want to fuel the cells. We want to starve the bad guys. That's what this diet is built to do. It balances blood sugar also. I have had people have to reduce their insulin. I don't take people off their drugs. I'm not allowed to. In the state of Minnesota in the US, that's a big no-no because I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a PhD. I do the research and I give you the education and you do what you decide to do. But I've had people who their doctors have to reduce their insulin because their blood sugar becomes more balanced on this diet, which in turn, if you've heard any of the gossip going around about this, if you balance the blood sugar, your hormones will be happier, your mood will be happier, your energy will be more sustainable, the inflammation's coming down, your joints are going to be happier, your circulation's going to be happier, all your organs are going to be happier. That's just the way it works. So there's all, anti-inflammation is the big villain, but we're going to get a lot done that's deeper than just being anti-inflammation here. But yes, it's anti-inflammation. We want to simplify also. I skipped something. The gut health. Yeah, I guess I did cover that. If we get the gut health clicking the way it should, your osteo problems are going to be improving, or at least slow that train down if you have got osteo problems. Those hormone issues, the anxiety, the sleep, the gut issues, all of it will start to correct itself. The body wants to be in a homeostasis. It wants to be balanced. It's working for you. It is not your enemy. It is trying so hard for you. So I want you to be giving it these baseline tools so that it can actually get the things done. You want to be having a solid immune response. Like, this is a tidbit I hadn't planned on covering, but I think you'll appreciate it. It is healthier for the immune system to have an acute short-term response and then resolve completely whatever's going on. So you don't want symptoms up and then hanging on and on. That's a problem. You want it to go, hey, there's a problem, let's kill it, and then get done with it and return to normal. Now what we're seeing now is an absolute, like, the real pandemic, if I can say that. The real problem is people are getting these acute responses or a chronic response that slowly rises and it never resolves. It might go away a little bit, it might come back a little bit, but it's always chronically underlying. That's that inflammation we want to take care of. We want to get that gut health up. We want to get that immune system triggering properly, resolving the things. I've had people, whether they've had postnasal drip for years and years, they've been on sinus sprays and junk for 30 years, and within I had one gal within a week, she was off of all of her sprays that she had been on 30 years. That is anecdotally a bit extreme. I would expect on just the diet alone, things like that would take longer, especially if your body's trying to pull junk out of the tissues in the head and drain it down the throat. That mucus is an conveyor to get rid of junk. So if you see an increase in these things while doing this anti-inflam diet, it's because the body has a lot to get out of those closets and get out of the hoarder's house of toxicity that you might have going on. And your tissues they'll store things to help save you. And then you've got, why do we get the fibromyalgia diagnosis? Because the tissues are overloaded. They're overburdened. Something's going on in there the immune system can't handle anymore. We've got to declutter, and this diet with the leverage, the balance, and the simplicity can help you get that started. Like I said, all my clients have been doing this for 11 years, and if they don't, I don't follow them around with a spoon. If they don't, it takes longer. I can't be your conscience, do what you think is best. I'm not gonna guilt anybody for this. In our household, when we've got everybody doing it, everybody's feeling better. And then once in a while we have to do a reset because people fall off the wagon, but you don't have to guilt about it. You know what it's going to look like, so you do the next thing. Just ease back into it, or I like to cold turkey it. Jump right in and start doing the work. The simplification part of this, I think, is huge. This is built so simply that if you were to do the math for a couple of days, like 2-3 days, you're going to know what your plate needs to look like, and you don't really have to, go crazy counting macros and making sure everything is absolutely perfect. If you're close enough, you're going to make great progress. I also built in, which this is something my past clients have not had access to, a really slick little diet calculator where you can go to this Google spreadsheet and click and pick which foods you're eating, and it auto-calculates everything for you so you know exactly what's going on. If you do that for a couple days, you're going to know what your plate looks like, and it's so simple. You can always complicate it from there. If you're like, oh, I want to make this fancy recipe, that's fine. Pop the macros in. It's literally only carbs and proteins that we need to know. Pop that into the calculator and you're all set to go. Make sure it's balanced. The simplicity also helps you avoid the pitfalls that over or emphasizing foods or elimination, deprivation type things, or timing or combining or counting, those types of diets, it eliminates those pitfalls so that you're not mentally worn out with it. And like I said, whole families improve on this. I do have some notes I'm going to flip over here. I just wanted to make sure it was thorough for you. Most of these diets, other diets, are skipping straight to simplify. Like I said, they just want the magic bullet. They just want to restrict the problem out. And if I deprive myself of this, that's the magic key to making myself feel better. And maybe temporarily, but often not. And then we're just down because we've tried one more thing and it failed us. Some people are only eating vegetables, only meat, only fruit. Like I said, I did that. I mean, been there, done that. Every time I sat down when these things toyed with my head and I'm like, maybe I could improve my diet plan for people. I would sit down to look at it and I'm like, I don't see where I could do that. The math is there. The science is there. The results are there. And it happens all the time. A day after I threw this into a course and handed it over to a client, I don't want to say a day, I gave it to him. He was 5 weeks in. I lied. It's 3 weeks into doing the supplements and 4 or 5 weeks into just the diet. He said one day I woke up and it was like a switch flipped. And every day since I've noticed marked improvement. So somebody who was ready to give up on life and I mean, like literally starting to give up on life, and this rejuvenated them. He gives most of the credit to the diet. He said the supplements were nice because we did a whole individualized protocol for him, but it was the diet that he credited to. And I've had like 3 people say that since. So in the 1 month I've been trying to fine tune this. I still need to fine tune some of the branding and verbiage, but just throwing this much at them and them doing the best they can on it, not perfectly, has changed their lives. So when you understand and trust that baseline toolbox way of eating, your strong foundation is being built. Your body has the tools it needs to start piecing things together, bringing down that inflammation, and you can sustain it because you don't have to second guess yourself all the time. So I've used this method for pushing a dozen years with my family. I used it myself when I had Lyme disease. I have never had a relapse of any of those symptoms since. I did take a bunch of herbs with that, and that must have been 12 years ago. My kids have never needed glasses. They have never been to a doctor except for a broken arm. I think we had maybe 2 5-minute ear aches, and those resolved with some homeopathics in the ear. Basically, whenever they're complaining to me about problems, the first thing I ask them is, are you doing the food things that I've been teaching you all these years? And the answer is no. If their gut hurts, if they've got any problems that way, they know that they have to cut out some of the bad habits they've been picking up from their friends who are eating the standard American way, but they're getting it. So it's a key, guys. It's a huge key. You'll cut out so many problems and save so much money. I've had people with reflux issues and gut issues tell me that, well, they were going to the ER regularly. I just send them the diet stuff, tell them a couple of easy things to leverage and balance and simplify with, and they save themselves ER visits all winter long. And then when they slip off the wagon too hard and they don't want to go back to their baseline toolbox, they end up with more problems again, and it's really sad. But that's what I've been seeing happen for a decade at least. So if we can reduce your inflammation simply with food, you're not spending any extra money on it. The sleep, the hormones, the digestion, the joints, the muscles, the energy, all of it improves. So if you picked anti-inflam to come watch this, then yay for you, you get it, and you can start changing things. It's really not that hard. I'm going to invite you to use this diet too. I've got a link for you. Just let me know if you have any questions or need to message me, let me know. If I have any more bells and whistles to throw in there, I'll absolutely have access to all of that too. It's a one-time buy, and it costs less than a week of groceries to feed my kids. So it's really not expensive for what you're getting, and it's something you can return to your whole life. So no gimmicks, no magic curtains, nothing hidden on this one. It is what it is. It's been working forever, and I wanted it easier to hand to my clients, my current clients too. So it's all there for you. If you have anything you want to tell me about, you can do it here in the comments, or you can message me. So cheers to your good health. Blessings on all of you. I hope you are all safe and happy and well and able to help your neighbors the best you can. we'll catch you soon.